Hello there, and thank you for joining us on today's episode of the Women series, where we capture developments and stories that impact women. We continue our series for the month of June on women's participation in politics, even as we celebrate our democracy. And the topic for today's discussion is the Nigerian woman, expectations, threats, and opportunities. Now, despite vigorous campaigns and efforts aimed at achieving equal representation of women in governance, women are still treated as unequal to men. Age-old traditional beliefs, women's physical weaknesses, and men's egos have been identified as some of the reasons for this discrimination. Now, while we see women going about their daily business, or as we say, minding their business, some women stand and act as a voice to many against socio-economic vices and as an advocate for human rights. My guest today is a social political activist, a co-convener of the Bring Back Our Girls movement, and an all-round fabulous human being. She truly needs absolutely no introduction. I'm speaking with Aisha Yesufu. Thank you for joining us on the program today. It's great to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure being here.
Yes, right. So let's go in through the discussion for today. You are known as an advocate for women's rights, especially when it comes to women's rights. How yielding has the government been to some of your agitations and demands?
Thank you so much for that. I think, first and foremost, one of the things that we need to understand is the fact that women's rights are also human rights.
Yes.
And it's very important for everyone to understand that as women, we are human beings and we deserve to be treated equally. We deserve to be treated with equity. The way it has been so far, the government hasn't been as yielding as it's supposed to be. For example, we remember that the gender equality bill was thrown out of the National Assembly. And what did it simply say? It didn't take anything away from the men. It just simply said that as women, we wanted to be looked upon equally. In terms of a whole lot of other, there are so many laws out there that are so unfavorable to women. Earlier this year, was it late last year, we have a situation of a woman in the police who was sacked just because she got pregnant out of wedlock. And you have a lot of men who impregnate women out of wedlock and nothing seems to happen. So all of this systemic discrimination that are going on, the government really doesn't do anything to ensure that they put this stumbling block that women have out of the way. What normally happens is that there's a bit of tokenism here and there. Once in a while, they have an appointment of women. They probably would have appointed like 50 men, and then they just bring in one woman and they say to you, oh, we've given a woman this appointment. So I would say that it hasn't really been yielding as much effort as it should. But one of the things that is really very clear is the fact that a lot of women are no longer abiding by the age-long rules, custom that seems to have been put in place, which is to say that women are supposed to be seen and not heard. And so more women are speaking out, more women are standing up. And I'm so happy with the younger generation of women. They're really taking their own place and they're refusing to be cowed. And that's something that we should all encourage.
Right. It's interesting to note that more women are speaking up and more women are standing out for their rights. Now, there's been several expectations for women to be different things, especially when it comes to the home front, as regards meeting the societal standards, which of course can be limiting at times. Now, in business, there's no doubt that women are doing excellently well. But when it comes to politics, there's still like a wild margin between the representation of men and women. Now, what are your thoughts on this?
So first of all, there are so many expectations, unhealthy expectation, I would say, that are being put upon a woman, and most often is the one that gets her oppressed. So you are looked upon as a good wife as long as you're one who is ready to take any kind of form of abuse that's being thrown at you by your husband or their family. You're looked upon as a good wife as long as you look the other way, you don't speak up, you're one that can be trampled upon. The moment you demand to be treated with respect, the moment you demand to be treated as an equal, the moment you demand to have a say in the relationship, you're the one that is called stubborn wife, or you're not a good wife, and all of that. And so all of this expectation of putting women in this pedestal hasn't been helpful. And what it just, it seems to be, it creates an environment of abuse where women are constantly being made to either deny themselves, lower their potentials, lower their ability, their intelligence. You don't speak, you don't do anything, you just stay there. And a lot of people, women have been doing that, lowering their standard. Let me digress a little bit and give you an example. You find out that women, sometimes they have money to build their houses, but they're not allowed to build houses. Why? Oh, what would your husband say? You can't do this. Or even if she's not married, or if you buy a car, no man is going to marry you. You're going to raise your standard high. The people are all sorts of things. I mean, just basically holding you back just because you're a woman. And so these things happen a lot, and it does happen even in businesses. There are certain businesses. Oh, you're supposed to grow, but you're not supposed to grow too much. You're not supposed to have too much money. So you find a lot of women, what they do is that they overcompensate, and so they have businesses that could grow and be huge, rather than grow vertically, they begin to grow horizontally. So I have a bakery is doing well. The next thing, I open up a tailoring shop. Instead of me taking that bakery to be a multi-billion business, I would rather open some small little ones across board. And so they've been doing a lot of compensation. And when it comes to politics, it's more glaring. Because if you look at politics does not start from the the political participation per se. Politics starts from even our own houses. So you started politics when we were kids. But what happened? The boys could go out. The boys can go out and go and play football right after school. It's expected of them to leave the house to go and meet their fellow boys within the area, and they play ball. And it's either who is bringing the ball, who is choosing who is going to be part of the team. They get to participate in politics. But most times, women, the girls, are supposed to be at home. They're the ones that are supposed to help mommy in the kitchen. They're the ones that are supposed to cook. They're the ones that are supposed to do it. So you find out that they're in individual clusters. They are not meeting. They are not finding that political participation. They are not learning it. They are not knowing what it is, what involves, what power is all about. How is it that you come out and you get your place in a place, how you're chosen to be part of a team and all of that. So they're denied all of these things. You come to issue of family meetings, where also sort of like politics is going on. But guess what? As a woman, you're told that you can't be a part of the family meeting. Your own family will tell you if you're married, you're somewhere else, you can't be part of it. And if and then when you go to your husband's family, they're going to tell you that you are not really part of the family. So you find out that you've lost your identity. Even as women, you change your name, you move on. So to be found later on is very difficult. It's easy to find your male students that you've lost contact with 20 years ago because it probably still has its own surname. But when you come to the woman, she has lost her identity. You can't even find her. So when it comes to time to do policies, you find out that you are already, handicapped because you've not started learning all of these things that are very vital organically that you will use to be able to do, have part to be in the political world. And then, of course, we have the situation whereby as a woman, you're called a prostitute because you want to do politics. You are denied the opportunity. People say to you, how are you going to do midnight meetings? Who says political meetings have to be at midnight? And then you find out that also money, the ability to have that money, ability to have that support, they are not there. So a lot of things are holding women back in politics. And I think one of the things that need to happen is that women need to find that creative way to be out there. No matter what happens, keep staying there and keep going, asking for that, demanding and making campaigns and letting people know that you want to serve them and not just go away. It is a tough road, but it's something that a lot of women can find themselves there as long as we're not giving up.
Right. Well, that was a lengthy answer to that question. Now, Nigeria operates a democratic system of government that allows for both men and women to equally participate in the political space and speak against maybe about their displeasure concerning certain issues, which you've of course rightly pointed out. You are well known in this regard, and some forms of threats have followed. There's been several attempts to silence your voice. Despite these threats, you still appear very vocal in trending issues. I mean, what exactly are your motivations and what keeps you going?
For me, the fact is that I see myself not as a woman, but as a human being, and I have every right, like every other person. So I'm not trying I don't live by the societal standards. I live by my own standards. I mean, I came to this one on my own. I didn't bring anybody along with me. I didn't bring society along with me. I came to meet society, so I came with my own rule book, and I'm going to live my life in that way. And that's exactly what I've done. And so it's about just staying on and believing in yourself, and just going and just knowing that, look, you have a space in this world that was created exactly for you, and nobody has a right to take it away. It's not easy though, because you have a lot of you have a lot of threats from society. You have even sometimes family. They, oh, why are you doing this? As a woman, you shouldn't have done this. But for me, I grew up this way. I mean, I got into a lot of trouble growing up. So I spoke up. I made demands. I challenged issues, and I'm like, I need to know why. So for me as a human being, it's something that I've been used to. And then growing up, right now I'm in my late 40s. I just look at things on the basis of, I have a right to do it, and if any other person can do it, I also equally can do it. Even though we have systemic discrimination all over the place, we don't have equal opportunities. Like you said earlier, that there's no equal opportunities. There's a lot of societal discrimination, even from the fact that a girl is denied opportunity to be in school. There are a lot of women who are supposed to be, who have gone to school, they were not allowed to go to school. Maybe their brothers were sent to school. And sometimes, even when they had opportunities for them to do certain things, like go abroad for studies, a lot of women are denied. Oh, how can you go? You're not married. You're not this. Sometimes you find that women that want to do so many things in terms of getting that education, in terms of getting money, they have their husbands deny them. Their parents deny them. And so there really isn't equal opportunity in Nigeria, but it has to do with, just breaking away and just ensuring that your voice is being heard. And one of the things for me, and that's the reason why a lot of people do get angry, and I get a lot of threat, because they see me as a threat to their patriarchal dominance, in a way that other women are seeing me, and they're getting motivated, and they're getting their own voices, especially women in hijab, who ordinarily, the Nigeria didn't see much of a woman in hijab speaking up before I came out. And here is this woman that is expected not to even have the capacity to speak English, because most people assume that the moment you're wearing hijab, you're not educated. And then here I am speaking. And so more women are finding their voices, and you see some of them in hijab. And so there are so many who are afraid, because that their patriarchal dominance is going to be taken away. And at the end of the day, without the patriarchal entitlements that they have, they really don't have anything to bring to the table.
Right. I love the fact that you mentioned that you have rights, I also have rights, and together our rights are valid. Now, the Nigerian woman is a wife, is a mother, a businesswoman, amongst other things. Now, regardless of all of this, she's confronted with a myriad of challenges every day. How does this gender-based discrimination rank amongst these societal problems that we've enlisted? And what are the efforts you and your network of civil liberty organizations are doing in order to find out, maybe we'll get a result? And so far, what has been the results?
I think for me, basically, I would say that the Nigerian woman is a wife, it's a mother, if she wants to be. And if she doesn't want to be, she doesn't have to be a wife or a mother. And I think for me, first of all, it's ability to allow people to own their choices. Whatever it is that they want to do, it's okay, as long as you're not affecting any other person. So for me, that's one. One of the things also, for example, I've had a lot of people who have said to me, like journalists, they asked me that question, that how do you take care of the home front? You're an activist. I don't even see myself as an activist. I see myself as an active Nigerian citizen. And they're asking me, how do I take care of my home front? Initially, I used to answer the question and everything. Then I got to a place, I'm like, why are you now asking my male counterpart how they take care of the home front? And so now we'll answer it the same way my male counterpart is taking care of the home front, because we seem to have aggregated certain roles to the woman, as if this is what she's supposed to do. I'm supposed to also be a businesswoman. I'm supposed to also be a career woman. Then I'm supposed to also be the only one who's taking care of the home. No, it's a partnership. It's something that every one of us should be doing. And that's one of the things in terms of trying to encourage more men, educate them that, look, it's their responsibility also in bringing up the children. It's also their responsibility in taking care of the home, and it's a partnership, and everyone should do things in a way of helping each other. I have a partner who is amazing, who understands. And in my house, we don't have gender-based roles. What we have are strength-based roles. So things that work, I'm very good at, I get to do them. things that my husband is very good at, he does them. And then it's not as if, oh, you are the man, I'm the woman, we must do this. So it doesn't work that way. And one of the things also, for me, one of the things I've really worked on is on the issue of financial independence. It's very important. Very important. And that's one of the things I say to women, no matter what you're doing, ensure that you have financial independence. And we talk, there's this program that I do called Wealth is a Woman. And basically what it says, as a woman, you can be financially independent, you can own your wealth, you can have your voice. Because one of the things that we have, the greatest abuses that we have, actually financial abuses, and a lot of women allow themselves to be in a position whereby they do not have financial independence, and they are made to go through so many things. So there are quite a number of challenges going out there. But in terms of the things that we're doing, is in terms of educating women, teaching them financial literacy for them to be able to own their voices and do their own things, and then giving them this, just letting people know that allow, how do I put it this way, allow women to have a place to be accepted in the society, no matter what their choices are. You know, like earlier on when I said that a woman can decide she doesn't want to get married, it's okay, that's her choice. She can decide she doesn't want to have children, it's okay, that's her choice. And we all should allow people to have their own choices and own their own choices and be comfortable in the society where we are. Sometimes there are certain choices that people make. It's not part of our injunction. For example, our religious injunctions do not allow them. It's okay for us to say, yes, our religious injunctions don't allow this, but then, hey, it's your life. You do with it whatever it is that we want to do. And I think the most important thing is acceptance. If we're able to all accept women the way they are and continue to give that support, we get to places. And also, most important is for the nation to understand that as long as women are not brought along, there can't be development. And a lot of research has shown that it makes sense for you to invest in women. It's like walking with one leg. You're not going to get anywhere. And we've had countries whereby they have put in place, this gender, even in politics, to say for every role that is being, for every political position or something, there must not be more than a certain percentage of one gender. So we sort of like balance. It's not exactly % affirmative action, but just to say that you can't have more than 50% of one gender or a particular percentage, and it helps. And you find countries where women participate more in politics are countries that are more developed than the others. And we saw it during COVID-19 also. The countries that were able to handle COVID-19 crisis very well were actually countries that were managed by women.
Right. You've mentioned like quite a number of answers to that question. And one thing that stood out for me was when you said that rather than have a gender-based rules, we can as well incorporate the strengths-based rules. I mean, you've talked about quite a number of things we can introduce into the political space or in order to build up a gender equal system. Now, over time, we've experienced quite a number of rules and policies, but there are really no practical things as to how we can incorporate or get more women into politics. Would you want to share more of these practical ways or measures in which we can use in getting more women into politics?
So some of the things that we've done, we've had like policies and all of that, but we really don't have laws, and that's where the biggest problem is. If you have something without legitimation, it's just a statement. It can be a policy statement, and that's it. So there's no power behind it. You can't enforce it. So it's not enforceable. So for things to be enforced, they have to be in the law, and this is where, because we do not have women in the legislative, we don't even have women a lot in government. If you could look at it, especially in the legislative where laws are being made. And so because of that, these laws, whenever it comes up, it's thrown away, like the gender equality bill that came up at the National Assembly threw it away. So what basic, first and foremost, is ensuring that girls get to stay in school. Girls are not married off, because we have our potential presidents, vice presidents, Senate president, House of Representatives, speakers of the House of Representatives being married up at the age of 10, at the age of 11, 12, 13, 14, and they're taken out of school. So ensuring that women stay in school, it's one of the ways of getting more women to participate in politics, because by the time we have more women who are educated, we'll be able to take from the pool that we have. But here we have a lot of girls are denied opportunity to be in school, and that affects them. And also, part of the things, like if you have a bill being passed where we say a certain percentage, not necessarily women have to do this, but just to say that not one a certain percentage must not be occupied by the same gender. So that sort of like evens it up and brings out the room for women to be able to participate effectively. And also one of the biggest problems that we have, it's always the issue of finances. You cannot run election without money. And most times the people that the power brokers, they do not want to invest so much in women. They would rather look for candidates for them that they think are the ones that are going to win. And one of the things that need to happen is that we must begin to put our monies where our votes are. Citizens must begin to donate to campaigns of candidates, no matter how small it is. It doesn't have to be a huge amount of money. 10 naira there, 200 naira here, 1,000 naira here, 10,000 naira. The candidates that you believe in, and this they will be able to use to run their campaigns, because whether we like it or not, campaigns are very expensive. When we are talking about campaigns, it's not even an issue of saying, oh, you're buying votes or anything. No, monies that you're going to travel with for the logistics, in terms of you're going to hotels that you're going to stay in, places that you're going to be at. This is very expensive because you're going to do campaign all around. The materials that you're going to have, campaign materials and all of that. Is it shirts? Is it whatever? Is it jingles that you're going to be producing? Is it adverts and all of that? These things are quite expensive, and people should do more to be able to support female candidacy. When we talk about female candidacy, of course, it's not just to put anybody there because they are female. Those who, of course, who have competence, character, and capacity, they have empathy and courage and capacity to serve the people.
Right. Thank you very much. I mean, that was a lengthy conversation and a robust conversation from Aisha Yesufu. Thank you for joining us on the program today. It was great having you to talk on women's participation in politics. And hopefully we get to see that these changes and these laws are being implemented. If you've got questions or comments, kindly reach out to me at ayomide.oguntoye@proshareng.com. To read more on our news stories and to watch our videos, log on to www.proshareng.com/WebTV. And you might also want to follow us on all our social media platforms showing on your screen. Until next time, thank you for watching.